iDiskiTV powered by World Sports Betting. Mamelodi Sundowns winning as always. Peter Shalulile taking a vacation, coming back after a few months and scoring and becoming a top goal scorer again. Woo! Umnqondo Farmers League. There you are then. Yeah, your thoughts on the games. I don't know what to ask even.
Mr. K, ujali bit.
So and so.
Ngiyalithanda mina lebhola le. Ngibulise wena phethu, ngibulise uJustice, ngibulise uDrake, ngibulise uJunior. Ngibulise nani emakhaya, ngicela support njalo la iDiskiTV ngizobeka nje njalo ngijike futhi. Mr. K, ngizothi bekuthiwa amaFiat, amaFiat enzani. But mina ngibona i14 clip manje. 1400. Kala kubona ubona yona itishazi. Ngimina hayi man, ngathi 1400 iyadlula ayithule kancane. Ngibona futhi iyadlula ukuthi kanti kwenzakalani.
Morgan Mamila, before this game on Friday and 15 minutes before the game in the pre-match interview that he did with SuperSport, he was speaking as though he was going to do something different because he was saying other coaches, they were talking about Fiat, other coaches were talking about PlayStation, Tina, we are here to play, blah, 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 blah. And he did exactly what those other coaches were doing. He was critiquing them, casting aspersions on them. He did exactly what those coaches were doing. It's very difficult to play against Sundowns. I think that we need to all appreciate that. I know you and Junior have always criticized coaches for defending too much, and all that. I think Morgan Mamila, he underestimated the scope of the job that he had to do today, and he thought that perhaps he can talk, he Muhammad Ali'd his way into this game. Talk is cheap. You know, at the end of the day, you still have to play Sundowns and you still have to beat them. Sundowns beat him today, as we expected. If I was betting, but even the betting odds were very poor. It was 0.2. So if I had $100, they were offering me only 20 rands. If I was betting, I was going to bet my house on Sundowns and they were going to win, and they won. They won. It's a very, very difficult proposition to face Sundowns, no matter what Morgan Mamila thinks or says about other coaches.
Mr. Nkewu, ukhuluma nje iqiniso to tell you the honest truth. Sundowns ifana maphuzu into uqinisiso. Yeah, uzoloko nje ungaphatheki kahle man lokuzibamba nje isisu iSundowns leyo because yeah no in all the departments umayibheka from the goalkeeper to the defense, you know, Umvala has been superb in that position, and I never thought Umvala will play the way he's playing that position. And not only this game, all the previous games he's been doing well. La Payana, it's good to see Mamelodi Back in that position. Mkwena ngikhulume ngaye ngizomjumpa and then talk about the midfielders Lapana, Mdawu, Mudiba, Alende, Mshishi. Oof, Mr. Nkewu, it's not easy to play against this team. Ngikubalele ngelontuzana nge-half time ngathi mina there's one thing that I want people to see ukuthi this technical team is announced, they work, they do their job. Countele ngathi uRowan uyafika kuSundowns, uMkwena uyafika, uAlende uyafika.
Yo, just be careful. So I'm sorry to cut you. Just think about this. Those players are 20 million rands players. Alende is reported to be 50 million rand player. Mukwena was an iconic young player of the season. He was going to be the next generation star in South Africa. So that's if you were to coach anyone, if you were coaching anyone, those are the players you would coach. I agree with you. Coaching is important here there at Sundowns. That's why you see the framework and the structure that they're maintaining. That's superb. But yo, if I was a record label and someone gave me Tupac and they gave me Notorious B.I.G. and they hoit in Brenda Fassie, I'm going to be a good record label because I got those people, whether we like that or not. Those, like, to coach Ronan Williams is South Africa's number one. He's South Africa's number one. Marcelo Alende, they're telling us it's 50 million. That's the only club that could realistically afford him. So you could be a good coach, but if you're coaching those guys, though, like that, your job is like 70% of the way done.
Mr. Nkewu, yes, I can agree and sometimes disagree, because when you look at even overseas, it tells you there's teams where they've got money, they buy all these players, but they don't win.
But the point I'm making so is that your job is not even halfway done.
Yeah.
Is if I were to buy you Tso Vilakazi, so if I were to buy you Tso Vilakazi, highest ever goal scorer in the history of Orlando Pirates, I don't need to do much coaching.
Yeah.
I need to do the right coaching.
Yes.
It's important to do the right coaching.
Yes.
But this guy is a goal-scoring midfielder. He's a one-in-a-generation player. Number 10 scorayo. He's small in stature, but he's got high football IQ. The best football IQ of his generation, Tso Vilakazi. So you don't need to do much coaching unless he's got an injury problem, unless he's got a home problem. But Tso, without all of those problems, is still Tso. You see, this is not a criticism against that club, obviously. I'm just saying, those are those players, though. Like, you have Ronwen is Ronwen, though. Like, I mean, how much more coaching could you do there other than integrating him within the framework you're going to Tina said, you need to play. So you do the right coaching, but those are those players. Like, those are player of the season, goalkeeper of the season from their own teams where they come from.
Mr. Gil, uvumelana nawe.
I'm not criticizing them, sorry,
because
I'm not criticizing.
Yeah, uvumelana nawe. The thing is, I just want people to see something in all of this. You can have all the good players, but if you don't have a proper structure and a philosophy, then we're not going to see the good of these players. So I'm trying to say, when I'm counting all these numbers, I've counted about 7 players that they were not part of Sundowns for the past 2 seasons, that are here now. But when you look at the structure and the philosophy of Sundowns, it tells you these coaches, they know what they're doing. Yes, Mr. Nkeo, that's why I'm mentioning playing against Sundowns, pound to pound, you can't match those players because individually they add their value. They can think, they can apply themselves, and really 1v1 they always dominate on that. And as a group, when you look at that 3 up front, they give you a headache. Look at Mr. Nkeo, what Shalulile just did now, it's out of this world. This guy was out, I will say, almost half of the season. He was out. Now he's back. Now Lapa Pezulu, man, top goal scorer.
Yeah, I was happy to see the fans. When he was warming up to come in, already the fans anticipate.
Mr. Nkeo, ngicela usho ukuthi ngithini mina.
He's a fan favorite.
Bheka, ngithe mina lo muntu lo makangena. Ezokohora baba. Mr. Nkeo, we can't be ball players, all of us. And they celebrate me the way I am. Ukuthi mina bheka ngekho mnandi, angeke ngishaye step over, ngeke ngidlale 1-2. But mawulithi la enzokufinisha baba. Isundowns, unfortunately, Mr. Nkeo, we just need to be realistic, all of us in South African football, to say Sundowns, they've got a good structure, they've got a good philosophy, they've got a good technical team, they've got a very good eye at getting players and coach them, those players, because sometimes you can get all these big name players bakuhlule ukuba coach, because in star we are lapha star we are loop. But now iSundowns bahlangana, Mr. Nkeo, ukhipha lo ufaka lo kuSundowns usazoloku usebenziswa isisu sona, same thing. So because the structure and the philosophy of Sundowns, beka uphumile umshishi, uphumile uDomingo, uphumile uMayilula, but you can't even say it. That's where you see the coaching part.
Maybe I'm sorry, coach. So maybe the last question as we wrap up is, what do you do then with that striking position? Because Shalulile is, I think, for all he is, Shalulile, he is a player of the season, top goal scorer last season and the previous season. And before he joined Sundowns, he was a top goal scorer at Highlands Park. He used to score about 13 goals. He is a goal scorer. And the reason why he's voted as players of the season is that other players vote for him and they recognize him 2 seasons back to back, if I'm not mistaken. They say he represents us in that he is the one who did the most work this season. And even now, he came back, scores a goal, goes back to number 1 on the charts with all the other players as well. with 2 other players, Grobler and Pimenyimana. Now, how do you solve that puzzle? So, like my last question to you, because you have Cassius, is doing well.
Yeah, very well.
At this point, I would trust, for example, if I had to put my head on the block, trust in the experience, particularly when you're doing Champions League. Already the league is won, so there's no danger really. Even if you try out Cassius and then Shalulile, you only start with him in the next 3 or 4 matches as he's coming back from injury. And then by the time it starts the CAF Champions League, and you hope that it's fit. But how, as a coach, how would you solve that problem?
Yeah, Shalulile just came back. I will continue Umailula and then bring in Shalulile because we really need him also for a Champions League. So, and also, let's not doubt the boy. The boy did very well. The boy, he came in where no one thought he can really palm isandla sakhe. No, guys, I'm here. Where Shalulile left, I can push on and go forward. And he did very well, So I'll continue with him. Shalulile will come back slowly, and then eventually, Shalulile, he's gonna start.
At some point.
At some point, he's gonna start the game. But yeah, well done to Kabuyelo, and yeah, as always, they're working hard at these guys and keep up the good work.
Okay, there you go. Mamelodi Sundowns winning as expected. You woke up this morning, you thought they're going to be Chippa, and that's exactly what they did. Nothing exciting, nothing unexciting. Just Monday being Monday, Tuesday being Tuesday, a week being a week, a month being a month, and a year being a year. Nothing new under the sun. iDiskiTV, Diski Times, World Sports Betting. Thank you for watching us.